Uh-oh, recording in progress.
That's right. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, we had so much rain last winter, Bob, that it never went dry this year. So
I can imagine.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I went over to Marina, what was it, last weekend, and met with Nick over there.
Yeah.
He was at work at Joby, and I took him some cavities that he purchased from me and got the grand tour and all that kind of good stuff.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's
So very,
Joby
yeah,
Aviation.
yes. And some very interesting uses of RF. I signed my life away, so I will probably die instantly from a lightning bolt if I say anything too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, some theories that I had about antenna usage and stuff, they're using them. So it's like, okay, well, that proves that that works.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I have a complaint.
Okay.
The email you sent yesterday
Uh-huh.
had a one missing from the passcode.
It had the what missing?
The letter, the number one.
Oh,
It
okay.
should be 831, but you just had 83.
Oh, okay. I'll have to double check that.
I tried it over and over. I said, okay, am I getting caps or not caps? Is it case sensitive?
I'm glad. Thanks for catching that. Because I'll
So
have
I
to see what I
went to one
did.
of your older emails a couple days ago,
Yeah.
probably Thursday, and it had 831 on it. I said, okay,
Okay.
that worked.
Okay. Yeah, because I did a cut and paste onto my calendar so I could access it easy, and then I must have missed the one or something.
You left one off.
I don't know how I did that, but
So Jim,
okay.
better Jim, you were afraid you didn't have the right one.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I couldn't understand why. Usually, if I've got a meeting ID saved, and like which I do for this meeting,
Uh-huh.
you don't have to enter the passcode. But this time I had to enter the passcode.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Let's wait a little bit. A few more.
Oh, two more join it.
I got an email that John Greathouse tried to join about an hour ago.
Oh, well, he's in a
So
different time zone, so he got his time all wrong.
right, yeah. So hopefully he joins up again.
Hey John, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Have they been having more power outages up on the hill up there?
They've had one more since, which was a
I
planned outage.
Yeah, I noticed it. The what damage?
It was a planned outage.
Oh, planned outage. I thought you said plane damage. Okay.
Does the ERT repeater back up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I was checking because I didn't hear it IDing and I knew that it was probably down again.
Yeah, yeah, that came up at the on the net, and I tried getting into it, and I couldn't. Then I realized that I picked up a radio with the wrong tone, and but I checked it this morning. The repeater's up and running, but I'm not getting a link.
Well, we're going to find out right now.
There we go.
Yeah, it's IDing up here.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay, well, now we know. I did, by the way, John, I did have a nice long talk with Marcel the other day.
You had a long talk?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We talked probably for about an hour about some NARC stuff, which was a real education. And we also talked about the repeaters and Matthew's site up there. And I was specifically asking him if he knows what Matthew's going to charge for rent. And he said he didn't know, but the way he understood it after he talked with Matthew was Matthew cannot charge rent. Because of the way the agreement is structured with the property owner, that you have to become a member of his organization or something like that. So that's something that probably needs to be. He said that Matthew is putting some kind of generator in and solar backup power. So it'll be interesting to see what you find out down there.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of progress on it in a while, but
Oh yeah, Marcel said that he's been busier with all kinds of other stuff up here, and he hasn't had a chance to do much. By the way, if you get the chance to go up there to the vault where the repeater is now, reach up to the ceiling where the power cord is plugged in, pull the power plug out, run it around the rail, and go over there to where the first low power FM station is, and plug it into the outlet right there. That happens to be on their generator.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they'll never notice.
Yeah, I would seriously doubt it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've my physical condition and getting up and moving around has been kind of limited, and I haven't got up in the hill for quite a while.
Ah, okay.
So John Greathouse, got any snow left on the ground?
No, it melted off about as fast as it came down. We just had a light dusting this last time. The big storm was back in January, and I just happened to be in Florida at the time, so
Yeah.
I missed it. My wife was extremely upset with me because she had to suffer through it, but I can't help it. She has piss poor timing.
Where is here?
I'm in Kansas now, Bob.
Oh gosh,
Oh.
my condolences.
No, it's actually pretty nice. It's I miss the many aspects of California, but I don't miss the millions of people. I'm out here on 3 acres all by myself.
Yeah, well, oh well.
But I thought I'd stop in and check out today's meeting because it's always nice to see old friends.
Yeah.
Quite a few hills on your property.
It's pretty flat. But
Yeah, that's great.
He asked tongue in cheek, yes.
but been going fishing, and it's actually, the weather is so crazy out here because today it's like, I think my weather station said 24 this morning, and tomorrow it's going to be in the mid 60s. So it just, that's
Wow.
Kansas.
Oh,
Gosh.
One extreme to the other.
well, let's see.
I turned off my video while
That's fine.
here.
Okay,
John Foster.
one of the things I was going to touch on was the KC6 ERT, but we already got that update. So anything else about that? might
Yes,
wanna-
one thing. I was going to check the links on there, and Bob had sent me the control for the link, and
Oh yes.
I had an A 012 or an A1 or whatever it is. Let me look here. A201 and an A200.
Yeah, John Liam can help you out on that.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the only two commands that are accepted from your end into the port 2 on the controller.
Yeah, I was looking at the keypad and wondering how to enter an A as an alpha.
Oh, on the radio, it should show you the extra key functions, or what keys will act as letters. They may be in a different color, like red or something else, but they're there.
Yeah, my fleet of Baofangs, nothing on the keypad is labeled for alpha.
Oh, you'll have to look it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. By the
Okay,
way, speaking of things on ERT, we still have to move the antenna up on Fremont Peak up higher, and I did a little more studying on it, and there is a fairly low outrigger up on KSBW's tower that I figured wasn't going to be good because it looked like we'd be looking into an STL dish up there. And as it turns out, my geometry was wrong. And in fact, the dish is like, oh, probably about 45 degrees, maybe 50 degrees off from where the antenna would be aiming. So it looks like we should be able to go up on the tower. We got plenty of hard line to reach it. It's just a matter of going out there on the leg and moving the antenna up and then putting in all the new coax. And by the way, when we do put the new coax in, we're going to drop our signal loss at 443 by at least half. So we're going to run further and we're going to have lower coax loss. So go figure.
yeah,
Just a matter of, not getting washed off the mountaintop or blown off.
yeah, that sounds good. But yeah, it's just a matter of weather and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good. Anything else on ERT that we need to know about, or think we're good at this point? The next thing I had, Jim, did you see that email about the groups.io thing where people needed to check their account or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Rick was one of the people that had to check his account, and he did that.
okay. Yeah, that because I went and looked on the list and there was only a couple people that were tagged, but I didn't know them, so I don't know. If they needed to, if they saw that they needed to do anything or not. So, and I don't think I could do anything on there anyway, so I could just see what was there.
I got a message on the MC Aries at group.io email list that somebody had been removed from the list because they had marked an email as spam.
Oh yeah, I think it was Burbage or I think.
Yeah. Oh, you got the message too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he hasn't renewed. It said they sent him a link to rejoin, I should say,
Yeah.
if he wanted to, but he hasn't done it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Liam brought up a thing. One thing we would like to add to the website is I have the CVS file for the band plan, and it's the spreadsheet that allows everybody to add those frequencies to, like, either on RT systems or what's that other one?
Chirp.
Yeah, Chirp. Yeah, the other softwares. And so I'll send you that file so we could add it to the
Okay, I
band
need
plan
two
section.
things. To
Okay.
display the band plan on the website, I need an image file, JPEG or something like that.
Yeah, I think I sent that to you already, but I can resend it.
Yeah, better resend it. And then I'll put a link to the CVS file.
Okay. Where would the CVS file be located?
Well, it'll be on the website, but I cannot display that file.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I
Yeah,
can
that's
only
fine.
display it, an image file.
Right.
I can link to a document file.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I understand. Okay. Will do. Let me put that on there. Okay. So one of the things I've been doing is checking out our served agencies, and actually John will be interested in this. So right after our last meeting, I met with Sophie Sanchez over at Salinas Valley Health because they needed to help to install their new radio that
Yeah, they
John
said Greenhouse left them a bunch of junk and they didn't know what to do with it.
had. Yeah. So
Just kidding, John.
well, there is a bunch of stuff, but that was a good visit because I was able to swap out the radio, and they're trying to figure out what to do with the old one. And I said, if you just want to get rid of it, I'd look at it to see if it's still serviceable or not. A lot of times, some of those radios that we had on other stations, that they're so old you can't even get programming cables or anything for them. So, but we'll see about that.
Hey, do you remember when you didn't have to program radios?
Yeah, right.
Just entered the frequency and
I don't know how they did that. It was magic.
There, Gail, I
Uh-huh.
don't know Sophie. She's new since I left.
Yes.
But there's also one of their engineers over there whose name is eluding me, but he's
Yeah.
pretty sharp, and he's the one that really kind of provided all the new cabling. But they also had said they were going to move that radio room over to the admin building at some point, so, or to a different
Well,
location.
it
Um,
they may have done it. It was in a server vault.
sure, up on the kind of up on the top floor.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they said they were going to move it back over to the main hospital again
Oh,
because I guess the problem was that's the admin suite on the top level, and they weren't real happy that people would have access to the admin suite to get to the radio room. Was
right.
kind of the last I heard. Um, but
Well,
there was also an Alinco radio there that I kind of was, in my mind, was kind of keeping it in reserve, thinking that would be a good packet radio because I think that's what it was originally put in there for.
right. That's why I left that alone. And so it was linked to an older laptop.
Right.
But I met all the people. We had a little meeting after I got that installed, and so there were let's see, 5 of them. Sophie, one of them, she wants to get her license, and the other 4, which was the IT guy, he had the new laptop with WinLink on it, and then the other 2 engineers, and then Laura,
Right.
and so she's a part of the development or whatever, and so they all had their license but didn't know what to do, and I told them just to look at buying a simple handheld radio and just talk to each other. And so I set them the frequency, the band plan, and all that stuff, and so try to get them familiar with that. And so I'd let them know if we had any kind of training. I told them to look at YouTube and that kind of thing, and so they got to get a feel of what to do next. But yeah, they're very excited about having that all set up. One of the radios didn't have the coax connected, so I reconnected that, so they were both connected. And I got on there, and when I tested the Yaesu radio, I did a check on it online and on K6JE, and then Bob N6OOD gate called back and I had a good check there, so it sounded really good. So I was glad to get that.
Yeah, those are all new antennas and all new coax that I provided to them when I
Great.
was, and there were laptops that were donated by EOC.
Okay.
And I don't know if those ever got to everyone because when I left, those were in the hands of the person who took my position over at the public health department.
Okay. And that would be Sarah Hausman.
Yes.
And so I did have a talk with her this week. She emailed me and wanted to chat a bit. And so she called me then. And so then we were talking about all the different stuff, and she actually came from Salinas Valley Health.
She did.
She
And then
was
the other gal, they actually hired two people when I left. And the other gal that is working with Sarah, she's an old ham because her dad was a ham and she did have her license,
yeah,
but she let it expire.
right,
And she said she was going to get it, renew it. So
yeah. Deborah Dunn.
Deborah, yeah, yeah. And so they still have that big radio go box that I created.
Yes.
So that's sitting over at Public Health somewhere. And
Yeah. Yeah,
and they
Sarah.
have portable antennas and all that. So Public Health could be involved if they wanted to be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I talked to both of them when we were at the Chomp Emergency Preparedness Fair last October, and their booth was right around the corner from ours, so I was able to walk over there and introduce myself and everything, and so that's where we started our connection. So yeah, it sounds real good, and I mentioned to Sarah that the one thing I didn't get was a photograph of their cart at Salinas Valley, and so she was gonna she needed to go see Sophie anyway and so they were going to try to get that for me. But that's one of the things I wanted to try to do on each of the stations, that just so we know what's there and what model and model number of the what brand and what model number each of the radios are, so we know, because we don't have any list or nothing about it other than what Sarah may have a list that you may have done, right?
Well,
Inventory.
I remember I did an in-service to this group, and I could probably look for that file again because at that time I took pictures of all the radios,
Oh, great.
serial numbers and everything at the hospitals. But I was trying to get those Yaesus standardized at
Yes.
them. But I'm not in control of the funding, and there was one still in my closet for Chomp. I don't know if it ever got over to them, but
yeah, I'm not sure. I did talk with them because they were looking for somebody in our group to ask them, because they were now finally moving their EOC to a different part of the hospital. And so they were asking me about, because they wanted to they were asking for recommendations of coax and antennas, because they wanted to get another antenna just to have in place before they move, during the move, and then that way they don't have, they can keep the other radio on the other antenna, and so they're still connected. And so I provided that information, and I've got their contact information there. It's mainly the engineers and over there. So
and Daniel McKernan, he's their
yes,
emergency preparedness person.
yeah, and he was the
Anyway,
one
I'm
that was
glad
at the. Yeah, he was the one that was at the fair too. So
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that the hospitals at least are showing some interest. And I
yes,
know Natividad, they had a number of people that were ham radio operators, and they have a really nice room specifically well, not specifically. They use it for other sources, other
Yeah.
things too, but that person could be kicked out if there was ever an emergency that required a ham radio operator. And they have headsets and foot switches and the whole bit. I provided them.
Yeah, great. That's great. Yeah, so I'm just kind of moving along with all those. I've thought just checking with the hospitals, they're kind of first priority. And so and then Sarah's doing a great job keeping that going. And then she said, she's got all those contacts information and everything that if we needed anything, to let her know. But we're over at Salinas Valley, though, I figured we were going to have an escort up there anyway for the way they have it, everything is separated and stuff.
And that's what Chomp said too. You're
Yeah.
gonna get, once they know they have a need, they're gonna assign an engineer to be looking for the ham radio operator and
Right.
get them to the right location. And that's what Natividad said also, because there was concern about having ID badges and all of that. And they said, no, we would be escorting the person straight to where they need to be. So
Yeah. Now, the other thing was I was asking about Sean Lynn up at Chomp, and they were saying, oh, he retired. So I don't know if I know last time I was at the monthly breakfast, he was there, but I haven't been to the breakfast in a while.
Hello. This is Mark. Lynn Shawn retired
Oh, you're
from Shawn. He doesn't work there anymore. He's been going.
You're locking up, Mark. Mark, for some reason, your video and your audio was locking up.
Like I'm having a network problem.
Yep.
So the next contact I got was from Monterey Fire. And it was actually an IT person from Monterey, city of Monterey. And they sent me a picture. See, what was her name? But she sent me a picture of this. They wanted to get rid of this old equipment in their EOC and wanted to ask us about it. And let me share my screen real quick to show you what I got. This. Let's see. Oh, it's not gonna. Well, anyway, I was going to try to, it's not going to let me do it. But it was a photograph of, they have this old computer. It's a Windows 7 little short computer with a dot matrix printer and plus the little square monitor on it. And so they wanted to get rid of it. I said, I had no idea if that was from us or what. So, I said, we wouldn't use that anyway. We've kind of moved on to other formats. So, but one thing I wanted her to do though, it was out of frame where the radios were. We just caught the edge of one of the radios. So I asked her to photograph the radio the radios over there just so I know what's there and what model they are. And so we can at least identify that. And because I haven't been there for probably over 10 years in the EOC over there. But anyway, actually, you're signed up, Liam, for the CERT class. You may go into the EOC for some of the classroom stuff. And so if you're there, you could take a look at the radios, because I know they have other radios. I think GMRS radios that they just added into the mix. So that other ham radio, there may be two, because I think I told her that one of them may be connected to the computer, so just disconnect it and go from there.
Well, I will definitely look for that. And the
Yeah.
GMRS is actually one of the things that's recommended for additional connections between hams and non-hams.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the frequencies. I have their frequencies on the band plan list, so including their repeater. And their repeater and tower are located off of General Jim Moore, just south of what is that? One of the housing areas up there. And it's at the location of where they have a water pump or.
I thought they said they moved that.
Yeah, they just moved it.
They moved it from the tanks over to this other location off of General Jim Moore.
Oh, okay.
And
It's still
so,
the same general. And then,
yeah. And I checked from my place, I tapped into one of their nets. They do it on the second Monday of the week, of the month. And so I was listening in on that. I was picking them up great. So, and so they were running through a drill session, and so to train all their people. So it worked out pretty good. So, so yeah, it's moving right along here. Any questions so far?
Yeah, well, I had a question,
Sure.
just because I'm so far removed now and been retired now for a year and a half. Is the EOC, who's over there now that Gary's left and everything? Who's in charge, and did anyone kind of get reassigned to Pat Moore's role to support this group?
Yes, Pat Moore was replaced with Justin Lin.
Sure. I knew that. I just was wondering if he's done anything.
A
No.
little bit, but not really. It's
Okay.
been hard to get connected with him.
Okay.
I think they're still understaffed. I found out from him that they did hire a new person doing some logistics stuff, and he talked about possibly handing us over to that person, but I haven't heard anything more. They've been pretty busy with all the storms and stuff. So,
Yeah.
and then Kelsey is now the director of the Department of Emergency Management.
I had a feeling she would
Yeah,
get that position.
and I know he's probably been it's been way over her head. I saw a couple things on social media where she was talking to the board about different things, and especially after all the flooding and stuff up in Pajaro and all that. So they definitely have their hands full. But as far as some of the other people, I noticed a couple of them in some of the videos showing Pajaro that are still there, that were kind of new hires, but I'm not sure if they're still up at full staff. Because I know they were only budgeted for 5.5 people. And so the person that was there for the halftime was Tracy Molfino, which was he was a retired Salinas PD commander, and I know him, and so he kind of dropped out the end of last year. So now
Well, I
he's
was just wondering because I knew Justin didn't really have Pat's skill sets.
no.
So,
And
you
so
know.
I was trying to educate him as much as I could, but I don't think anything was sinking in.
Okay.
But I'm going to keep trying and see where we go. The last thing I try to do is I finally got our member list kind of somewhat, or at least for our current DSWs, they're all sworn. And so he was going to send that list over to the sheriff to see who was background checked or not. And I told him, I think just me and Wayne O'Neill were backgrounded, and I don't think anybody else was. So we'll find out. So he's waiting to get that back from the sheriff. And I did send him an email, I think last month before our last meeting, and just to see if he had an update on that, but I haven't heard anything back. So that's where we are now. Let's see. The Fremont Peak Repeater Association meeting. Oh, he begged out. Okay.
No,
That-
I'm here.
He's
I'm
there.
here.
Oh, you're there. Okay. You blinked.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
More on the meeting.
Okay. Yeah. Lots more. Trying to find when we can do it. I can tell you that the meeting is going to be a Zoom meeting.
Okay.
Just because it is like next to impossible to find a place to actually get everybody together and physically meet someplace. So I'm trying to work it out right. I put out a thing to the board members and stuff, and this was like spinning a giant calendar on the wall and everybody throwing darts at it, and nothing came out. So I'm getting ready to just pick a day and say this is gonna be it. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of business going on. And it will be coming out probably sometime next week. I'll let you know when it's going to happen.
Okay.
But I do have several things to report on repeaters and repeater changes and work. So when you get around to that, let me know and I'll give you guys an update.
Well, you can go ahead right now.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, I gave you briefly what's going on Fremont Peak with ERT connection. We're going to move it. I have a temporary, a planned tower climber that's going to come in. I mean, there's not really much climbing. It's you walk across the ice bridge, grab onto the leg of the tower and go up about 10, 15 feet. And there's the outrigger. So it's not going to be a big deal. We're going to need manpower up there again to snake a new piece of coax in. And when we do, the old coax that's up there right now that was a, OES funded purchase is going to be coming out. So that will be available once we switch over to the new hardline. So that's the ERT connection on Fremont Peak. On Fremont Peak currently, there is a potential problem with the K6JE UHF repeater. Apparently people are reporting that it's difficult to get into it, or it's difficult for them to hear the repeater. So we don't know if there is a UHF antenna problem, if the radio that we use for the repeater has an output problem. We don't know what. So, and I can say, and I think Liam would agree with me since he's been up there on the last few visits up to the hill, that we haven't put any attention into the UHF repeater at all. I mean, it's in the rack, it's there, it runs, that's it. So we're gonna have to go up and spend some time and look at the UHF repeater and see what's going on. With respect to hospitals, I know that you guys are talking about all the hospitals that are in Monterey County. Just to let you know that in Watsonville, the Watsonville Hospital has all of the primary repeaters all now physically located on the roof at the hospital. The hospital management has said, we will do everything we need to do to keep your repeaters here and to keep them running. You will not remove them from our facility because as they are now a standalone hospital, they have written all of the repeaters into their emergency plan. So they need them there. Also, one other thing with regard to the 147.945 repeater. I was informed that by Keith that it was 4 kilohertz off frequency, which surprised me. So I picked up the repeater, brought it home, put it on the bench, and lo and behold, yep, it's 4 kilohertz. Well, it was 4 kilohertz off frequency. And I wondered how in the world did it get that way? So I contacted Bridgecom. As it turns out, and you guys may find this interesting, if you ever run across a Bridgecom repeater, if you buy one from the factory, you tell the factory what frequency you want it on and stuff, and they will program it and do a factory setup on it where they align frequency and all the various functions in the repeater. Now, if you get the personal, user software where you can set up call sign and all this kind of stuff, and you can set it for low, medium, or high power, that does not adjust the power. It just sets a specific level. Well, the person that purchased this repeater got the software and said, I don't need a factory setup, which costs more money because I'm going to do it myself with the user software. User software does not do a factory setup. So the guy told me how to go into the factory adjustments on the repeater, which I did, and it worked. And I went to transmit frequency and started turning the knob, and sure enough, up it went. And I discovered something else by accident. For apparently the past 15, 16 years, that repeater has only been transmitting with an output power of 10 watts because the factory never did an adjustment pass, just does it function, that's it. And they left it. So when you use the software and you put it in high power mode to the repeater was 10 watts. So I went into transmit power setting and I started turning the knob, and lo and behold, up it goes. And as they told me, those are commercial repeaters. So they're good for 50 watts, full time, full duty cycle. So I cranked it up to 45 watts and left it. So if you ever try to get into 147.945 over here in South County, rather than it transmitting on 10 watts, it is now 45 watts output. And that's 45 watts measured out of the duplexer into the antenna. So, yeah, settings are a little bit strange and were kind of weird and have the way they did it at the factory, but it is now all up and running correctly with good deviation and everything. And that, I believe, as far as repeaters, is it. There's more that'll be announced at the meeting about the JE repeaters and the call sign and stuff, which I know people have been asking about. Oh, one last thing. 146.910, which was Leonard Gentry's repeater. That repeater, went off the air. I can tell you that repeater physically is gone. You have no idea who went up on the ridge and took it, but there is nothing up on the ridge above his house. There is a possibility that the repeater was located inside his house where he was running some small computers for his network connection that he was playing around with. We don't know yet. I'm trying to get back a hold of Eric, his son, to see if we can go in and take a look to see if it is still in the downstairs. Everything that was upstairs that was radio stuff, his son got rid of. So we'll see what we find. But 910 is off the air permanently as far as Eric goes. It may be coming back on the air over in the Capitola area as 14691. It'll be a new call, but I've been helping a guy try to get a new repeater up on the air over there. So yeah, that's it on repeater changes at this point.
Great.
Back to net.
Yeah, okay. Any questions, anybody? What about that? I think you sent out something about somebody possibly from K6LY may have had it, or
No,
no? Okay.
no. At this point, I've been in contact with, oh crud, what's his call sign? N6 TBQ over in Salinas. He is the ham who gave Leonard the radio that he was using as the repeater. And he
Okay.
contacted me, wanted to know what was going on. I told him, if you know more than I do. We don't know. So he has basically written it off. He did not come over and get it. He knows of nobody that has taken anything. So we do know that there was a bunch of solar panels and some batteries up there. That stuff is all gone. It's not up on the hilltop. So unless it's still in the house, which we don't know about, it's all gone. But the repeater coming up in Capitola will be basically the same configuration. He's thinking about making it a network connection to All-Star, but it will be 14691, same pair, same PL, same everything.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. The only other thing I have is just to remind everybody to try to do as much training as you can. I've always trying to being, I bought a second mobile, the Yaesu 6000 that I'm going to use as my digital radio. And so, and then I also got that, it's called a DigiRig. It's a little dinky thing for a sound card. And so, and it's supposed to work well with that radio. So I haven't played with it yet, but I keep looking on YouTube for all the different issues they run into. But yeah, I'm kind of focusing on the WinLink, also the crossband repeat, the Anytone radios I got for CSUMB and mine. It works fairly easily for the crossband repeat. And the other thing is what I did is I've been listening into the ISS when it goes over. I have the app on my phone. It reminds me when it comes overhead. And so then I've been listening in on the frequency and hearing everybody jam up trying to make contact. And so with the Anytone, since it's a full duplex, it's two separate radios. You send you have VHF frequency you broadcast to them, and then you receive the signal back on a UHF. And so I have that set up on my Anytone. I haven't tested it out yet, but I have been getting signals listening in on their conversations, or everybody jamming up trying to make a contact. but like they said, it's because of the Doppler effect, you have to kind of time it just right. And so a lot of them just keep one after another, just trying to make sure they get in there, get a good connection. The other thing I was looking at is I'm going to finish looking at I looked at the training guides that Ron Short had put together for us. And I think Pat Moore had addressed some issues with it a little bit. I'm going to go back through them again and make sure they're okay. And then we'll want to post them up on the website so we can get that out to everybody. And then we could just take a look and see if anybody has issues with it. We can go from there and make tweaks to it. But it's pretty, it starts off real basic, and so for a lot of new people, it'd be ideal for a good lesson for how to operate and everything. So I'm going to push forward on that. Any other questions?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
The official club for MC Aries is MCAEC,
Yes.
and I'm the treasurer
Uh-huh.
of MCAEC. And so a financial report from the
Oh, good.
treasurer is in our account. We have $3,291.99. And we were having initially, after Lou Arbanos passed away, Gail and I were having a terrible trouble just trying to find out what the account was, how we get at it and all that. We finally got it straightened out. So now I can do direct deposits.
Yeah.
And that's working okay. Then I have another, any questions on finance?
Also, I've been receiving the statements every month too. So
Oh, good.
And I have the financial book, and I did punching holes and sticking them in there, so we have it.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I just ordered a cheapy Chinese radio. It's a RT470X, 5 watts, 6 bands.
Well, I think I saw that.
Yeah, $39.98 on Temu.
Grace,
Yeah.
And
Lisa got her key.
the bands that you can transmit on are 136 to 180 megahertz, 200 to 260 megahertz, 350 to 400 megahertz, and 400 to 520 megahertz. You can receive on the aircraft band 108 to 136 megahertz, and on the FM broadcast band, but it runs from 66 to 108. FM broadcast is 88 to 108. This one's got a few extra free. So they call it a 6-band radio, 4 bands that you can transmit on. Now, I don't care if it's a cheap Chinese thing, man. If it does all that for $39, I'm going to be pretty happy.
That's good. Yeah, so we'll want to report next month and see how it goes. See if you're in jail or not.
One of the features it says it has, I'll have to look into that. Is
Okay.
If you're in a scan mode and you hear a station, you can automatically just push a button and you automatically copy the frequencies and PLs and everything. You don't have to program it.
Wow.
It's programming.
Wow.
The nice thing too, Jim, is since you bought it on Temu, now the Chinese know more about you than you do.
Yeah.
I know
Right.
a lot of people are afraid of Temu, but I've used it quite a bit and
No.
haven't had any problems. Do not use the app. The app is the one that gets you in trouble. I don't use the app. I just do it online.
Yeah.
But
Great.
Their prices are dirt cheap, that's for sure.
well, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Anybody
all I
else? Anybody else? Any questions or comments? Well, that's all I have today. So,
Just one more comment, Gail.
okay, go ahead.
In April, I think April 8th that starts, will be the Sea Otter Classic. And Tim Takeuchi is recruiting people to volunteer for that. I know Dave Hitch has already volunteered.
It's
I'll
actually
be
the
working in
18th,
Huh?
18th through the 21st.
Oh, 18th, okay. I'll be working in the communication booth, so I won't be out in the field. Dave will be out in the field, but if anybody, it's a really neat event
Yeah,
to volunteer for. I've done it for many years, and every year I had a different station, which made it interesting.
yeah,
And I have a lot of different stories I can tell you that happened at that event, but it's the #1 bicycle event in the world,
mhm,
really is.
Agreed. We can second that. I've had a very good time with it. This year, the CERT is probably going to stomp on at least one of the days that I would otherwise be there.
Oh, okay. But that's a
Yeah.
great start to the year to get your radios out. And one year we were out there, and I guess we were in a little bit of a hollow, and we weren't able to hit the repeater that Tim had set up. But there was a guy there with a pickup truck, had a mobile rig that could do crossband repeat. So he set
Yeah.
it up so we would broadcast to his pickup truck, which was 50 feet away,
yeah,
and then he would
that's
broadcast
great.
out to the, using 50 watts instead of our 5-watt rigs.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's,
it all works out into to be some more training opportunities.
exactly. Great. Anything else?
I
All
just
right.
wanted to say thank you, Gail, for sending me the invites on occasion. I love getting on here every once in a while, just see what the group's doing and say hi to old friends.
Okay,
What time
well,
zone are you on, John?
What's that,
Yeah.
Jim?
What's
Yeah,
your
the other
time
thing I
zone?
had was if Bob would stand by for a minute or two, just try a repeater check.
Okay, I will be
Central
here.
time, Great House?
What's that, Jim?
Are you on Central time?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
all righty.
Hey, Bob, you there?
I'm here.
The other radio.
Too many radio stations there, and then we're talking about TV.
Okay, sounds good. Now we're in business.
Okay, great. All right, that's all I have. So I'll see you next month, if not before. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Good way to test, John. Thank you.
All right.